Hey guys, and welcome back to Zeppelin Studios. I'm Brandon Gabriel. It's nice to have you here again. This is our second series of the channel, which is called the Session Musician Series or the Session Series. This is where we go through the long and arduous process of recording all of the instruments from the bass to the drums to the keyboards and the guitars as well. So strap in and enjoy. To start off, we'll start with the drum track and how it was played on Hall of Ceremonies. Okay, so we're here at the Roland TD27. This is the V2. This is obviously not the drum set we had on the original Hall of Ceremonies. That was a Ludwig Evolution set with Zildjian cymbals. But this will do for purposes of demonstration. So without further ado, let's go into how I played the drums for Hall of Ceremonies. And so there you have it. That was the drums for the Hall of Ceremonies and a bit of how I played it. Not exactly to the T, plus and minus a few mistakes here and there. But overall, that's the way that I played the drums on Hall of Ceremonies. Okay, and that's it for the drums. So the foundation is laid. We already have the drum track. Next up is our backbone, and that's the bass. All right, now we move on to the bass. Always good to have a chair like this where the arms can fold up so you have space for the bass. Okay, so we'll mute the existing bass track and I'll play over it. And this is when, in the process, I'm playing with the drums. So I'll be playing together with the drums. This is where it starts to get easier. So I usually switch off the metronome. Okay, so obviously there was a slow fade off that's already in the DAW. So imagine playing this just without any music, and I just have to listen to the drums and imagine the rest of the track. So it will be something like this. Okay, so obviously doing that is a lot harder without the rest of the backing track. At the point in time when I'm recording Hall of Ceremonies, I only have the drums and I have to play the bass over the drums and basically imagine the rest of the song. So what I do have to imagine, one of the instruments I do have to imagine is the lead guitars that follows the bass riff. Okay, so before I begin, there are a few things that I need to mention. Always remember to tune up your guitars, whatever guitar you're using, or tune up all your instruments before you start recording. Another thing is that I don't use a guitar pick. So you can see here, a little Zeppelin Studios guitar pick. I don't use a guitar pick for anything, so everything I use is my finger. If you watch Larry Graham, you will know what I mean. And lastly, but not least, always remember to condition your strings first before you play. It helps to smoothen out the strings and also condition and clean the strings at the same time. Just give them a wipe down with one of these string conditioners before you start recording. Another thing is that you will not be able to hear the metronome, but I can hear the metronome, so I kind of signal what's going on. But the metronome will be at 130 BPM. That's same for the drums. So I'll be hearing the metronome, which is very irritating. It goes click, clock, 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 click, clock, 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 and it's very distracting. On top of everything you already need to imagine. So you only have the drums and then the bass guitars. So you kind of have to imagine the song on top of all of that. Okay, so now that we have the backbone of the song, our drums and our bass, next up is the lead guitars. Okay, so this is my favorite part of the track where I play together with the riff of the bass guitars. So I'm just complementing the bass guitars. I like to do that with kind of old school. When we're using the click tracks, I don't use them to quantize anything. I don't really like to quantize rock music, so I will do it just as a guide. I use the click track. Up next is the guitar. Let's listen to it. And also at this point, I don't need the click track any longer because I can kind of follow the bass. So the only two instruments that I needed the click track on was the drums, of course, and the bass guitar. Okay, so it kind of fades off at the end down there once again. I forgot to mention, I do need the click track, but that's for just the in-between parts. Of course, I did the lead guitars and the rhythm guitars on different tracks so that I can concentrate more. I didn't need to do a lot of, a lot of fiddling around here with the switches and whatnot. Okay, so after the rhythm guitars kind of links everything together, it's starting to glue up nicely with a 4-piece. We have the organs that come in to complement the rhythm guitars. Let's have a look at that. So without further ado, let's move on to the organs. The organs were recorded, as you've seen in the previous producer series video. The organs were recorded on 2 different tracks. And so we'll just listen to them in the DAW, and then I'll play them for you on the keyboards.
chorus goes.
Okay, so that was the organs. The rest of it is the glockenspiel and the harps that come in at the end of the song, as well as the keyboard outro, and of course the vocals, which I won't be going into in this video. They're pretty self-explanatory and straightforward. Alright, so the second last thing on top of the track, besides vocals, is the guitar solo. Okay, so usually after layering on all of the instruments, the very last instrument that I will record is, of course, the lead guitar solo. So let's have a listen to that. Okay, so for that part, I kind of tap. I start out with a so I do that when the first chord comes on. After that, I do a it's just tapping, and then after that, I just go into a and I just play whatever I feel like playing. Let's listen to the rest of it. So the last part goes then after that I just end the solo by going and I pull that last note out. So that's basically the guitar solo that's on Hall of Ceremonies.
The Hall of Ceremonies, you may cast away my
And there you have it. I'm not going to go into the vocals because that's pretty self-explanatory, and it's an instrument that I can't really show you unless I need to remove it from my throat.
Pass, 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 help!
Besides that, that's the whole track, the long and arduous process of recording each individual instrument on top of a metronome that goes click, clock, click, clock. And it's a very irritating sound to hear while you're trying to record your instruments, especially the drums, with emotion and also imagining the whole song coming together. When you just have the drums, it gets a lot easier towards the end when you have more of the instruments on the song recorded already. But of course, the starting instruments like the drums is the hardest for me in this process. So on top of that metronome, I still had to imagine the bass guitar, what it would sound like. I have to imagine the guitars, so I don't have any context. And that's really the part that I struggle with when I'm recording most of my music. But once you get through that, you pretty much have a solid backing track, and then you can layer all your icing on the cake. So there you have it, the first video to our session series, Hall of Ceremonies. And that gives you a bit more insight besides the producer series, which concentrates on the software. I hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you in the next video.